Well, good day, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on the business model canvas. My name is Rivers Corbett. I'm with Opportunities New Brunswick as their entrepreneur in residence, and really excited about sharing with you today an amazing tool that is going to really simplify your ideation of a business idea, of starting a business, and ultimately building a business. And it's one of the things that when I started my role, I noticed that there was a lot of confusion with entrepreneurs that were our clients about how to ultimately do the things that I just talked about. So sit back. We're going to take a very high level, easy road trip through the business model canvas, which is an international tool used by all kinds of different entrepreneurs around the world. As I said, my name is Rivers Corbett. My colleagues Nikki Shaw and Raphael Albert also do this training with me. So away we go to the next slide. And this is the canvas itself. And before we get started into what the canvas is all about, what I'd like to do is have you watch a little video, and that will, again, get your mindset right. One of the things that's key to this presentation is not that you learn every little integral piece of it, but that you really have a mindset as to how powerful the business model canvas can be in helping you with your business.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the business model canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. The channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. The key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the business model canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
All right, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the canvas in a nutshell with regards to how it all works. Now, let's kind of dive a little bit deeper on what we do next. One of the things I want you to take notice of was that there's 9 business foundational pieces associated with this canvas, and these 9 pieces are critical to the success of any business that is building an idea, starting an idea, or just ultimately launching it. And without a full focus on each one of them in a way that consistently brings all those pieces together, then it doesn't matter what business you're in, doesn't matter how old you are, you will not have a successful business. And one of the key things you'll notice from the video was the last piece that they talked about, the last of the 9 building blocks that they talked about, was the cost structure, which is quite interesting because what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they lead with the cost structure. They lead with, I need $50,000. They lead the conversation with, I need $10,000. and they really have no idea as to how or why they're doing what it is they're doing to rationalize those costs. So many funding agencies are just stuck because they want to help, but they can't because you haven't justified to them as to why you came up with the cost that you did. And the Canvas is going to allow us to ultimately do that. Okay, so what is the business model Canvas and where did it come from? We get this asked a lot in our journey. First of all, it's your business on one page. So it's going to be a great document for you to use as a precursor to any conversations that you might have with stakeholders that want to help you with your business. Funders, mentors, advisors. Think about it as a cheat sheet that's on your arm and you're doing an exam where you've got all the answers already that you can provide to individuals or organizations so that they can make an informed decision on how they can help you with your business. It's a global standard used by millions of people around the world, companies of all sizes that use the Canvas to describe, design, challenge, and pivot their business activities. And for you history buffs, this is this is the guy that originally started it, Mr. Alexander Osterwalder, in 2008, when he based it on his earlier work on business model ontology. So that's a little bit of the background of the Canvas. Key to this slide is we want you to remember this is a business on one page. All right, so this is the Canvas. Now, the first thing that I want you to understand is that there's 9 pieces that have to all come together in this. And the best way to think about how the Canvas operates is kind of just take a little bit of a time trip with me, going back to when you were a kid, and you got a puzzle. You got a puzzle for your birthday, you got a puzzle for Christmas, whatever. This is a nice gift. And on the outside of the puzzle box was the picture that ultimately you were going to put together as a kid with all the puzzle pieces in it. And so the Canvas is no different. In your mind, you've got an idea as to what your business is all about, who's going to buy stuff. You've got this all in your head. You've got a picture of it in your head, just like the outside of the box. Second of all, though, when you open up the box, the puzzle box, what you've got in it, of course, is all kinds of different pieces that ultimately have to come together to form that picture, that perfect picture of what it is on the outside of the box. So the Canvas, the business model Canvas, is no different. It has 9 puzzle pieces associated with it that all must come together congruently so that they form the picture of a solid business model that has potential for great success because all of the pieces have come together. Now, within each puzzle piece, there's different questions that need to be answered in order to move the evolution or the development of your canvas. The first one that we like to talk about is the value proposition. It's the one in the very center of your screen right now. Now, one of the things you'll notice in the value proposition is a little gift down at the bottom. I love those icons because they really form an interesting clue as to what that piece of your canvas is all about. So think about it this way when it comes to the gift. I like to say that with any business, the true success is they need to have, again, the proper mindset. So the proper mindset in this case for a value proposition is that you are bringing a gift to the market. Now, if you can call back again when you were younger, maybe not so much younger, but if you've ever received a gift that you didn't really like, it's a terrible feeling. It's a feeling of, oh my gosh, they don't really know who I am. Oh my gosh, why did they waste my money on me? And so what you need to do is understand that your business, the service or product, has to have some specialness associated with it. And so that when your customer has the opportunity to be exposed to that, they feel really excited about it. So think again on that day on Christmas morning when you opened up that gift and a birthday or whatever it happens to be, and you say, oh my gosh, this is the most special thing ever. Am I ever lucky to have this gift? Same thing with regards to your business. You've got to develop your product or your service in such a way that it becomes a special gift, not just like everybody else. You don't want to be in competition with anybody else with the uniqueness or the specialness that you come to the table with. So that's the first thing. That's where we focus in on when we're building the canvas. The second piece of the canvas that we go to when it comes to building the puzzle, and think about it this way, when you're building a puzzle on a usual basis, you kind of head to the corners first. Well, you need to do that with the business model canvas also, and that's the customer corner. So everything we're going to talk about right now is the customer corner. These are the things that the customer is going to be exposed to with regards to your business. And so you really need to make sure that all of those pieces really fit nicely together. So again, the value proposition is that gift. The second one is the customer segments, which is on the right-hand side. In that section, what you need to do is you need to be able to do a great job on getting detailed information about your customers. So you're able to identify not only who are the customers that are going to open their arms and say, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing product or service, but there are also those individuals who say, and I want to buy from you. I actually want to give you money for that. You see, then you know that your value proposition is strong because you've got a special gift, product, or service that is being welcomed by open arms with the customer segment that you identified. And the more details that you know about your customer segment, the better the opportunity or the potential for you to make sure that your gift reflects those needs that they're going to focus in on. Now, when I'm working with an entrepreneur, I don't move any further on building the business model canvas unless I have specifically dealt with making sure that those two are connected, that those two pieces fit so wonderfully together. Because the rest of the canvas, the rest of the questions that need to be answered in the canvas preparation, the puzzle, they are going to need to make sure that those two pieces work so well together because they form, the basis for answering the questions around the rest of the puzzle. So I won't go any further until ultimately those are answered. Now, a lot of people at this time, they'll say, well, how do I figure out who my customer segment is and so on? Well, when you're starting a business or starting a new innovative idea, you're really in a laboratory. And most laboratories, they test. And so what you need to do is you need to test your hypothesis that your customer is indeed going to embrace and buy what it is that you have to offer. And so how do you do that? Well, there's all kinds of ways in which you can do it. You can go on Facebook, find groups of people who you think are going to be the type that want to buy what it is you buy. You can do surveys. You can do surveys physically, or you can do it over the internet again. You can do a lot of Google research on identifying indeed whether or not there is other research to show that your customer segment is attracted to what your gift's going to be. Again, I don't move forward until I've got solid information that makes me feel good that that makes sense. So after those two pieces of the puzzle are figured out, the next thing that I go to is the channels. These are the methodology by which the gift is going to be ultimately delivered to the customer. And you'll notice that it's a truck, so it's transportation. That's really what it's about. How are they going to be interacting with delivering the product or service to the customer? Now, one of the ways they could do that, you could deliver it by a truck. You could deliver it by, I was up visiting one of our clients just this last week. He owns a craft brewery. Well, he's got a physical location where he delivers his product or service, but he also has the trucks which he uses to deliver his products to restaurants. You can deliver through things such as Amazon, Alibaba. These are channels which are online channels. The key is that you've got to make sure that it makes sense. So does it make sense that that gift be delivered to your customer through Alibaba? Well, if they're not on Alibaba, if they don't have any exposure to Alibaba, it doesn't matter how big and wonderful Alibaba is. You've got to understand that that's not a right channel. So again, I keep asking myself the question, does that make sense? So now we've got three pieces of the business model canvas nicely fitting together. We then move up to the customer relationship piece. Now, in business, I say all it is simply a dating game. It's how do you emotionally connect yourself to an individual, to your identified customer segment, in such a way that they'll continue to want to buy again and again and again. Yes, you got to provide good quality, but most solid relationships last because they've got a great emotional connection to them. And the business that doesn't understand or appreciate that they need to love their customer and learn what's important to them as part of the relationship piece will ultimately be fighting purely on price. But it's when you have that heartstrings attached to it, then that's what's important. So in this case, a lot of people also ask me, by the way, Rivers, where do I put my marketing, my Facebook, and so on in there? There's an argument that can be done with channels. An argument that can be done in customer relationships. But it's in one of those two pieces where you can bring in your marketing piece associated with how you're going to develop a long-term relationship with your customer. So those are four key elements of helping your business be successful from a customer perspective. We've now got them tightly working. We then move down to the revenue streams. Now the revenue streams are what you're ultimately going to charge for your product, for your services. And yes, it can be packages also. You can package it together in 3 items, 4 items, doesn't really matter. But this is where you are identified that this is what I'd like to charge for my customer, charge for my product or services. Again, this is a canvas. Think of it as painting. You're just using it initially to give you a guidance to see if it makes sense. So now we got 5 pieces of the puzzle to get put together. The next key part that we tie into is the key partners, the key activities, and the key resources. And these are the behind the scene people. Think of it this way. If you're going to buy a car, what you see is the outside of the car. You see the leather, you see the windows, you see the steering wheel. What you don't see is the engine that makes it all work. So think of the key partners and the key activities and the key resources as those pieces of the business model canvas that are the engine, the engineering piece, the behind the scenes stuff, kind of the dirty work, if you want to call it, that ultimately delivers everything that you want it to deliver the customer on the right hand side. Once you've got all of those 8 pieces together, you just figure out, okay, this is how much it's going to cost me to deliver all of that to our customer base and in the way that we want to do that. And this is why cost has to come last, because if the other 8 pieces are fitting nicely together, then you now have the opportunity to just fill in the final blank, which is the simple, okay, what's it going to cost me to do that? This is one key element too, by the way, is when you do your costing, if you find that you haven't priced your product well enough under the revenue streams, then you can go adjust it in that. This is a fluid canvas. It's a canvas that moves with you through your business. But now you've got questions that are being answered as you head to meet and talk to other people who are going to help you with your journey, such as funding agencies, such as bankers, such as lawyers, such as accountants, all those other people, such as investors, that are going to be interested in what it is that you're doing. And one of the key things one of the important things to remember, though, is that you've got to think different. I'm going to go back to the gift again. It's really important that you think differently in bringing your business idea to the marketplace. And the way you do that is you just got to think about being innovative. You've got to think about being outside of the box. You've got to think about changing your mindset to not swim like everybody else does, because that way you're going against the current. Therefore, that's when you have the biggest potential for success when you're being different. And the other cool thing is that when you're being different, you have the opportunity to charge a premium price. And that's when it really gets exciting, because the uniqueness affords you that opportunity to do that. For example, here's an innovation that everybody knows about. This is obviously the Apple iPhone. Well, Apple went up against a product called Sony Nokia a long time ago. From the outside, they look exactly the same. But what happened over time is that Apple started to bring in more and more of its technology through a platform delivery perspective and just annihilated the Nokia guys. You never hear about Nokia anymore because they couldn't keep up with the innovation that Apple was putting in place, and therefore and that's what the people demanded, and therefore ultimately Nokia went out of business with regards to that product line. It's all about innovation. People will pay more for it if indeed the value's there. And we all know what the cost of Apple products are. So again, this is the business model canvas in front of you. And by the way, we've got some interesting information about what we do next in helping you build your business model canvas. And so if you can just hold on for another 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to finish that off. But this is the canvas in a nutshell. Again, it starts with the value proposition, goes to the customer segments, and then we just build it out from there, one piece at a time. And the tool is so nicely put together that you can actually create this on one page. We know about an online platform that allows you to build your business model canvas from scratch using that. We, being Opportunities New Brunswick, are offering in-depth workshops so that you or your clients can attend one of those workshops, and we'll do a deep dive with you or your clients on actually starting and building a business model canvas. My vision is that every entrepreneur in New Brunswick has a business model canvas that they can use no matter where they go on their journey as an entrepreneur. And that business model canvas is so simplified that it increases the potential for success for everybody. But I emphasize again, the key is that all aspects of the business model canvas, all foundational pieces have to come together to fit together nicely like a puzzle, or else the picture will not look the way that you want it to look like. And that, to be fair, is why most business entrepreneurs fail, is because they forget about putting all those pieces together, and they leave one or two out as part of their journey, and it just doesn't work. It's like trying to run a car with 3 wheels. It's just not going to get you very far. So what's the next steps for you? Well, we do business model canvas workshops. All you have to do is visit our events page at onbcanada.ca. You're going to be able to sign up for the workshops that are happening around the province. We're planning to do 3. Space is limited with each one of those. So if you're a funding agency or support agency listening to that, we do private sessions also. So you could contact us directly. Or if you're an entrepreneur and you just want to join one of our business model canvas workshops directly, then all you have to do is sign up and let us know also through our events page at onbcanada.ca. Those workshops take about 3 hours, where we do a deep dive on helping entrepreneurs build their business model canvas and helping them be successful. Because that's really what we want for New Brunswick, a striving entrepreneur ecosystem that is significantly moving the needle on the spirit and actions of entrepreneurship. So thanks so much for attending today's high-level overview of the canvas, and I can't wait to see you at the next session. Thanks very, very much.